Hello everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to be checking out the 2015 Subaru Legacy. This is a 4-door mid-size sedan with seating for 5. And this particular model is the 3.6R Limited. Keyless entry and push-button start. You can unlock the vehicle simply by placing your hand on the handle. And then you can lock it by pressing towards the front. Large and deep rear trunk. Also, where the spare tire is kept, there's little storage compartments, and the spare tire is underneath. So let's take a look under the hood. Gas shocks to hold up the hood. So as is the trend now, there is an engine cover. This can be pretty easily removed. You simply pull up on the back and then pull it forward. Now this is a 3.6 liter boxer 6-cylinder engine producing 256 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 247 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. Now boxer, of course, meaning that the pistons are opposed to one another, the cylinders are opposed to one another, so you've got one piston moving this direction while the other's moving that direction, and you have 2 sets of 3 cylinders on each side, so all of the pistons oppose one another. And the benefit of this is it's a well-balanced engine. You don't have the primary and secondary imbalances that you have with some of the other engine models, and also it keeps the center of gravity of the engine pretty low, so it improves the handling characteristics of the vehicle. This engine features aluminum block end heads, dual overhead cams, and valve timing on both the intake and exhaust. The engine mounts, where you see that letter H, just below it is the isolator, which apparently is liquid-filled to further reduce vibration. So, checking out the interior, absolutely tons of leg room. I'm about 6'1", 6'2", and I can fit my legs in here very easily. You can also adjust the front seat for the driver in 10 different ways. Steering wheel leather wrapped, all leather seats, leather on the doors as well, so everything you touch for the most part is soft touch. Power mirrors and windows, as well as 2 selectable settings for the driver. Now, one of the first things I noticed sitting in this vehicle was just how spacious it is. Now, as far as visibility, out the front is pretty good. Out the rear, I think, is excellent. You can see your blind spot really well by turning around. You also have this moonroof here. To start up the engine, simply put your foot on the brake. It'll indicate here now that you can start the engine. Press that button, and it starts right up. And the touchscreen is actually pretty good, so like when you're typing, it literally can read as fast as I can type, which compared to most touchscreens is unheard of. Electronic parking brake, simply pull that up. So sitting in the rear, I do have space for my legs. I got the front seat adjusted where I will be sitting, and I'm sitting behind it now. And there is space for my legs, so pretty good there. Spacious, like I mentioned earlier, this vehicle is very spacious. Okay, let's go for a test drive. So, does it have enough power? First question. And the 3.6 is pretty torquey. It's got a good amount of power. It accelerates pretty quickly. The CVT acts kind of unique. So if you accelerate lightly, the CVT will accelerate at a constant low RPM, and it'll hold the RPM at that low range, and then it'll just accelerate up, adjusting the transmission rather than having set gear ratios. Now, if you floor it, then it acts a little bit differently, and what the CVT will do is kind of duplicate gears. So, you'll go up all the way to red line, and then it'll shift down, and then it'll go up to red line, and it'll shift down as you're accelerating. So it acts a little differently depending on what you're doing. The steering wheel feels really good. The seat is a little wide for me, but I probably fall outside of the normal width ratio, so I can't really blame Subaru for that one. It is very spacious, like I said earlier, and quiet as well. One of the other things that I really like is the brake pedal feel. I don't think I've ever driven a vehicle where I like the brake pedal feel as much as I like it in this. And I was trying to think of the best way to describe it. You do feel secure driving around. You've got all-wheel drive, so you don't have any wheel slip. And it does hold pretty well. That said, it does still have a bit of roll. But, it's not really meant for carving up canyons. The engine, very smooth. and that's just part of that boxer deal, and it's a 6-cylinder boxer, so these are just typically really smooth engines.